Let me tell you a story that might just split the room. You ever been that person in a group? The one who follows through, shows up, makes sure things don't fall apart? Well, what happens when that reliability becomes a burden and no one even says thank you? This is the story of one woman, a swimming pool, 6 sticky-fingered children, and a family that somehow turned gratitude into guilt. Welcome to AITA Stories. Let's dive in. It was the middle of summer. Hot, humid. The kind of day when kids are bouncing off the walls with energy and moms are on the verge of spontaneous combustion. Our storyteller, we'll call her Amy, was the aunt. The one who, by all accounts, was the cool one. She didn't have kids of her own, but she showed up for her niece and nephew often enough that everyone kind of assumed she was always available. Now, this wasn't just one of those lazy Saturdays. This was the family lake day, an annual tradition that, for better or worse, required logistics akin to a military operation. Sunblock, floaties, snacks, towels, a playlist the kids would approve of. You name it. Amy had made plans to attend. The whole extended crew was coming. Siblings, in-laws, cousins, and all the kids. But at the last minute, literally the day before, Amy was informed that plans had changed. Suddenly, they weren't going to the lake. Why? Because no one wanted to be responsible for watching the kids. That's right. Instead of a full family outing, where all the adults kept half an eye on the little ones while enjoying beers and beach chairs, the plan had become this. Drop all 6 kids off at the community pool and have Amy take them by herself. Yeah, you heard that right. Now let's pause for a second. Imagine you're Amy. You're in your 30s, child-free, already made plans for a fun day with adults, and you just got voluntold to take 6 children, none of them yours, to a public pool, alone. Would you feel like the fun aunt or the unpaid babysitter? Amy wasn't thrilled. She texted back, "No thanks. I'm not comfortable taking that many kids to the pool by myself." What followed was a cascade of passive-aggressive messages, guilt-tripping, and one particularly nasty jab that hit her in the gut. She acts like she cares about the kids, but when we actually need help, she says no. Oof. That line stayed with her. So now, Amy's sitting at home, feeling the heat, not from the sun, but from the judgment of her own family. The irony. She was willing to hang out with the kids. She would have gladly spent time with them at the lake, played games, watched them swim, with other adults present. But this wasn't about bonding. This was about dumping responsibility. 6 kids, 1 adult, a crowded public pool, liability, stress, and the very real possibility that one moment of distraction could lead to disaster. Amy did what many wouldn't. She held her boundary. She said no. And her family? They branded her the selfish one. This brings up something deeper, doesn't it? Why do people assume the kid-free adult in the family has endless time, energy, and availability? Why does saying no, especially as a woman, still get you labeled as cold or selfish? Amy shared her story online, hoping for clarity. Was she truly the villain here? Or was this a textbook case of someone being punished for daring to say, "This isn't safe and it's not fair"? And that's where the internet chimed in. Most commenters were firmly on Amy's side. They pointed out that supervising multiple children in a pool is not a one-person job, especially when those children range in age and swimming ability. Pools aren't just splashy fun zones. They're also high-risk environments, especially for kids who overestimate their own confidence, or adults who underestimate their responsibilities. One lifeguard even chimed in, saying that the number of near drownings caused by distracted guardians is higher than most people realize. It wasn't just about fairness, it was about safety. Now, let's rewind to that text. She acts like she cares. That one line exposes a mindset many of us have faced. The idea that your love, your commitment, your value is only real when you say yes. Say no. Suddenly, you're unreliable, selfish, fake. But let me ask you, isn't it more honest and responsible to say no when something makes you uncomfortable instead of forcing a yes that could end in disaster? Amy didn't say, "I never want to help." She said, "I can't do this alone." And that should have been enough. Yet her family's reaction wasn't to ask questions, coordinate better, or compromise. It was to blame. Now, there's something else worth noticing here. The people who expected Amy to take the kids, they had kids of their own, which means they knew how hard it is. They weren't unaware. They were unwilling. They were so eager to offload their parenting for the afternoon that they ignored what they were asking. It's the classic, "she doesn't have kids, so what else is she doing?" attitude. And it's toxic. We need to talk about how we treat child-free adults and families, especially women, because often they're expected to absorb emotional labor, unpaid childcare, and family logistics simply because they don't have other obligations. As if being child-free means you're automatically available. That's not just unfair, that's dehumanizing. Amy had every right to her Saturday, to her boundaries, to her peace of mind, and yet she's the one left questioning herself. That's the real heartbreak in stories like this. So, was Amy the jerk? Absolutely not. She saw a situation that was unsafe, inequitable, and uninvited, and said no. She didn't shame the parents. She didn't make a scene. She simply opted out of a plan that was made for her, not with her. And that's not selfish. That's smart. That's safe. That's honest. Now here's where I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in Amy's shoes? Maybe you're the single friend who's always expected to be the sitter. Maybe you're the child-free sibling who gets labeled free time personified. Or maybe you're the parent who's assumed others would just pitch in without asking. Whichever side of this you're on, this is a conversation we need to have. Because real respect starts with one thing: consent. And when people can't say no without being punished for it, that's not family, that's control. Let's stop normalizing that. Let's start normalizing honest boundaries. Let's stop expecting free labor from those who didn't sign up for it. Let's start asking instead of assuming. Because love isn't proven through silent sacrifice. It's built through mutual respect. And that, friends, is the truth. Thanks for listening to AITA Stories. If you felt this one, if it reminded you of a moment you kept quiet when you shouldn't have, drop a comment and let us know. And hey, if you've ever been guilted for saying no, just remember, your boundary is not the problem. I'm your host, signing off. And in case no one told you today, you don't owe anyone your peace just because they expect it.